A conservative columnist for the Daily Beast is not thrilled with Republican primary voters for choosing former President Donald Trump in both the New Hampshire primary and the Iowa caucuses. So, in his latest piece, Matt Lewis argued that Trump's twin triumphs show that his 2016 primary victory in a divided field was not an accident, and that GOP voters want Trump, which to me, it seems pretty obvious, but nonetheless, I guess this guy was like, yeah, but I don't know, maybe it was an accident. No, did you forget about 2020 when they renominated? Anyway, here's what he said. Quote, "It's time to drop the crap about reluctantly making a binary choice or Trump being the lesser of two evils when compared to Hillary Clinton or Joe Biden. Having rejected the options of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, also known as Ron DeSanctimonious, Meatball Ron, Puddin' Fingers, all those fun names. I really think he'd be a better choice. But anyway, or UN Ambassador Nikki Haley, you decided to give us Barabbas again." Or what is Barabbas? Well, considering how Lewis is a conservative writer, he's going to bring up Bible references, right? So, look, according to the New Testament, Barabbas is a prisoner who was chosen over Jesus by the crowd in Jerusalem to be pardoned and released by Pontius Pilate at Passover. So, somebody apparently on death row, pardoned, but not Jesus. Okay, so basically saying, you guys chose Trump over someone that could actually maybe save the Republican Party from losing to Democrats, but also to save the Republican Party from itself, because they're embracing somebody who is under multiple criminal indictments, and not to mention all the different scandals, et cetera, defamation lawsuits that he has continuously lost because he is liable for sexually abusing a writer back in the 1990s. But anyway, this prompts him to ask, what does it say about a political party when being indicted boosts you in the polls? Now, look, I've talked about that, and that's a good question. That's a fair question. What does it say, though? It says a lot of things. A lot of things, and none of them are good, all right? Now, for one, maybe at the very least, they think, well, no, the charges don't have any merit. I mean, I don't really know anything about them. I haven't heard anything about them. Other than what, Fox News and corporate, Republican right-wing corporate media tell me. So, of course, I'm not going to believe it because they keep telling me what to think. All right, that's the most fair assessment here of why, people on the right, Trump fans, are not necessarily buying a lot of these indictments, okay? You do have a very, very dishonest right-wing media that tells people don't worry about these things. It's all fake news. It's all Democrat operatives, et cetera, right? The worst thing would be that they don't care, okay? And that reflects even worse on them. They don't care. They don't care. They think, some might even think that it's good. Good. Oh, hey, Donald Trump, a fraudster, yes, cheating on his taxes, inflating his assets to get good loans, while deflating his assets in order to skip out on paying taxes. Well, that just makes him smart. That's why he's a good businessman, because he knows how to cheat the government, the taxpayer. Oh, right, that's you, though. You're the taxpayer that you're getting cheated. In fact, I've talked about numerous times now a report where rich people pay way less in taxes compared to poor people. Poor people pay more of their income in taxes than rich people like Donald Trump. And that's not an accident. That's a rigged system. A rigged system for him against the rest of us. All right. Others think, I don't care if Donald Trump tried to steal an election. In fact, I wish that he had succeeded. I want a dictator, as long as he's my dictator. Well, that's even worse. Now, Lewis continues and doesn't really mince words. In fact, he said, the party of Lincoln is metastasized into a decadent and perverse cult of personality that calls evil good and good evil. This metamorphosis is sometimes rationalized by a victimhood complex that sees America as fundamentally evil and her institutions, the justice system, the media, the FBI, the establishment, etc., as out to get them. Right there, I'm with him 100% on that. Totally nailed it. Then he added, in many ways, it's everything I hated about the Democratic Party of my youth. Look, the victimhood complex thing, 100% spot on. The rampant paranoia, I'll add that in. The embrace of nonsense conspiracy theories like the big lie. Now, that the FBI is somehow a left-wing agency that has only ever gone after the right. That's ridiculous. No, look, the FBI went after the left all the time. They attempted to make Martin Luther King Jr. off himself. They tried to get him to do that. Did they remember the McCarthy hearings? Designed to root out lefties in government by accusing them of being communists for, maybe being in support of universal health care. Stuff like that. Communists. Or as Trump would put it.
Pink-haired communist.
You remember that? I remember that. I mean, I wasn't alive during that part, obviously, but I do remember reading about it. I do remember the history about that. And I do remember all the agencies that have constantly, government, been against the left. The justice system, for example, has overwhelmingly targeted pipeline protesters. Protests for civil rights advocates, okay? Black men, anti-war protesters. Okay, that is something the government has targeted throughout my lifetime. And yet, while they were actually targeting the left, the right wing was not being targeted. In fact, they had to start making up reasons to be afraid, even though they had all the institutional power. Even under Democratic presidencies, they still had institutional powers, okay? Like law enforcement, the military spending, all that stuff. But they had to make up things to be afraid. You remember the 8 years of, right-wingers constantly screaming, Obama's coming for your guns, you're coming for your guns. We have more guns in America now than ever before. Or this comes from Reagan, the entire idea that the scariest thing that you could hear from somebody is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Remember that? Now, funny enough, Republicans, they say that, but then during an actual crisis, they're like, why isn't the government helping me? Aside from these points, though, yeah, I generally agree with Lewis, and I think he's, again, for the most part, 100%. All right, and his spot on his analysis of members of the Republican Party. They're in a cult. The current right-wing base lives in an alternative reality where they're the victims, and Trump offers them a chance at revenge. Now, Lewis also says that as a country, we are tribalistic, true, and that we, and I think he means conservatives, crave an exciting strongman. Yeah, and look, they keep proving, once again, that the so-called party of individual freedom and liberty, right, really just wants a strongman daddy to rule over all of us.